Brockman, what do you got?
Well, obviously it's going to be Patriot centric, and I'm just wondering, at number 4, because I think we all can presume that Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter is not going to be there at 4 now, whereas it seemed like maybe a month or two ago that was a possibility that one of them was going to fall. So what are the options? Just lay out the options for New England at 4.
Well, Abdul Carter is visiting the Patriots on Monday, and I'm sure that came from a product of, hey, if somebody surprises everybody and takes a quarterback, which I would not rule out the Giants doing at 3, like Abdul, you've got multiple injuries we need to check out.
Yeah.
You got to come in and do a visit. I know you think you're going top 3, but there are scenarios where unexpected things happen. Abdul Carter is one of the absolute top prospects in the entire draft class. If he's off the board, if hypothetically Travis Hunter's off the board, and then we all expect Cam Ward to be off the board, your options then are Mason Graham, which would be a very Mike Vrabel type of pick. It could be an offensive lineman as well, whether that is Will Campbell or maybe Armand Membu. And then, I don't think that they would go tight end at that spot. I mean, drafting a tight end at 4th is pretty wild. I wouldn't really foresee that.
Yeah.
So best guess, if they don't get Abdul Carter, they're still looking at going along one of those lines. Just knowing the mentality that Mike Vrabel has about the team and where some of those shortcomings were last year.
Yeah, does it seem like Jalen Walker is a riser in this draft?
Jalen Walker is another one that potentially could be there. I mean, he's another one that's kind of in the fringe, like we talked about with McShay yesterday, where is he in the elite with Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter? Maybe not, but he's right there. I mean, there's a bunch of different directions they could go. There's a bunch of edge guys in this draft. Michael Williams is another one.
I think Shamar Stewart's taking a visit to New England.
Shamar Stewart, Mike Green, James Pierce Jr. These guys are all first-round talents, but there's a lot of variability in terms of exactly where they're going to go, just because of different factors, whether it's off-the-field stuff, whether it is trying to make the tape square with the workout. With Shamar Stewart, I mean, he might be the most talented guy, just pure physical ability in the entire draft. Like, I interviewed him at the Senior Bowl. You stand next to him, he looks physically like Jadeveon Clowney. And he tests as good, if not better, than Jadeveon Clowney. Trayvon Walker went number 1 a couple of years ago based on his workout. And if you compare Trayvon Walker's workout to Shamar Stewart's is actually a little bit better.
Oh, wow.
It's on par, and if not, he has a higher athletic overall makeup than a guy who's one of the biggest freaks we've ever seen. So, but then you go back and, okay, why was he not more productive? And are you going to bet like Jacksonville did on, hey, we got a guy with all the physical tools. We'll get the most out of this physical ability. Or do you do what the Lions did in that draft and just sit there and take Aiden Hutchinson, who was a really good player who didn't have the athletic traits, and you've ended up with a guy who's been one of the most productive players in the NFL? Those are all some of those moving parts. But in a draft where, if you just go position by position, and I'm looking at it here.
Well, I think for me, it's wondering, who is... You hate to put this label on it, but who's number 4 overall worthy? And you look at some of the players who are going to be there after Ward, Hunter, and Carter, presumably go 1, 2, 3. You're thinking, look, the only one I could conceivably make a case for being 4 overall worthy is Mason Graham. And do you want to go that route? And then now you have a really stout defensive line and defensive unit heading into next year, whereas your biggest question marks and holes that need to be filled are all on offense. And you're just kind of looking at it, and as a fan, you're kind of scratching your head like, what are we doing?
And it's about Drake May, and it's about protecting him.
Right.
You already made a huge splash in free agency on the defensive line, bringing in Milton Williams for $26 million a year.
Correct.
But Mason Graham is different. And again, that is one of the safer picks that you can make. I don't know what their draft board looks like. I could ask. I probably wouldn't get a real answer on it. But he certainly is within the realm of possibility there. You have to weigh that out again against, do you think Will Campbell's a guard or a tackle?
Right.
Do you anticipate playing him a tackle? Taking a guard at 4, it's happened. Quentin Nelson went up there.
It's high.
But it does not happen very often. And with Membu, can you square, again, the physical ability of the guy with, okay, are all the other parts of it, all the other components of this prospect there? And so, that's really where the draft could turn. But the draft begins at 2 because the Browns, they could take Travis Hunter, they could take Abdul Carter, or they could shock us and do something else. The Giants at 3, conventional wisdom, what most people seem to think, is that they take whoever the Browns don't take between Hunter and Carter. And I've said it over and over, and I'm not saying that I know this is going to happen. I just would not be shocked if they take a quarterback. They have Russell Wilson. They have Jameis Winston. They're paying those guys like $15 million combined. They put a ton of work into all the quarterbacks in this draft. And they were at Colorado repeatedly. Like every game they were out there all season. Does that mean it's Shedeur Sanders at 3? I don't know that. If it's not Shedeur Sanders at 3, then the wait could be on for a little bit for all the reasons that we've covered, including outside of those top 3 teams, there's just not that many teams that you really foresee taking quarterback in round 1. Saints, maybe the Raiders or the Jets. I don't really foresee either one. The Steelers, maybe the Rams, and that's it. And then you're talking about the teams at the top of 2. Do they leapfrog up to the bottom of 1?
Catch the Rich Eisen Show live weekdays from 12 to 3 p.m. Eastern on Roku Sports Channel in the U.S.